Okay, in this video, I'm going to kind of walk you through the Sketchup for Web interface. This picks what English it is. This picks whether you have a mouse or a trackpad. This is help. I don't find help extremely useful, so I would recommend using the instructor over here, which we'll get to, or going on YouTube or just Googling it if you have a question. So this is on the upper left here. This is important. There's a lot of things that SketchUp does, but you don't know how to find it on this interface. So this is the fetch command, or it searches SketchUp. So if I wanted to, like, say, turn the shadows on and off on this model, I just type in view shadow sh and it shows what we can turn the shadows on and off. Now you can see when the shadows are off, the model gets a little bit darker. So I've got them on, so it looks a little bit brighter. I just like the look of it better. And plus for the final, if I wanted to do a rendering, I would have the shadows on. But pretty much, we're going to be using this a lot when there's a command where we want it to do something, but we can't find a button for it. Always try this search tool here. Okay. So this is your select tool. You can see the tooltip. To get back to that tool, you click on the space bar. So if I click on the draw tool and I want to get back to the select tool, I just click my space bar. I don't have to go back up here. The other way of getting back to the select tool, it used to be you could escape to get out of the command and get back to it, but really that space bar, you're going to be using that a lot to get back to it. This is the erase tool. It actually erases based on this little dot just to so like if you click it up here, it's not going to erase anything, but if you click where that little dot actually touches something, it erases something. Now obviously I just erased an hour's, like minutes worth of work maybe. So I want to undo that. So obviously we're going to be using the undo and redo buttons a lot. Since it's on the cloud, this thing saves to the web. So you can actually manually save it or see if it needs to be saved. So this is the draw tool. Now, while you're using all these tools, I'm going to suggest very strongly that you pull up the instructor. This thing is so good, you probably don't need to pay an instructor to learn SketchUp. It shows you all the various tools and modifier keys. So it's really, really helpful when you're starting to learn to keep that available. So now if I click into the line command, um, it walks you through really in detail how to do it, but also these modifier keys. So like SketchUp's got these axes. Blue is up and down, red is left and right, green is the other direction on your screen here. If I want to keep things constrained to those axes, so if I click for a line here, you can see it's going on the green axis, but it's easy to get off of it. So if you use the arrow key, it says green is the left arrow. So if I'm clicking my green arrow key, you can see it's constraining it to go in the green. If I'm clicking my right arrow key, it's constraining it to go to the. Now we're going to get out of this whole we're going to not start out drawing in the 3D view, but if you do and you want to keep things on axis, remember all these modifier keys and tips. So here it says escape cancel operation. Now I don't want to draw a line, so I'm going to click escape to cancel operation, but I still have to click a space bar to get back to the select tool. This is the rectangle tool. We're going to use that a lot. This is the push pull extrude tool. This is the move and the copy tool. So if I wanted to copy something, I hit the control key and that little plus comes and now I'll make a copy of it. Otherwise I would just move it. So that control key toggles it on and off. This is the rotate command where if I wanted to rotate everything. This is the scale command where if I wanted to make something bigger or smaller. This is the paintbrush command where if I want to paint materials, you can see I've got grass and concrete. This is the measuring command where I figure out how big things are. This pans, it moves me about on the model. Now I can hold the mouse wheel down and rotate. I can hold the left button down and pan. Um, this is orbit. So instead of using my mouse wheel, this allows me to use my left mouse button to orbit. But if I'm not in that command, I can hold down the center mouse wheel and orbit. The other thing I can do is like if I want to look at that part, I'm putting my cursor on there and I'm scrolling in on the mouse wheel. And then I want to look at the other one on the other side. I'm putting my cursor over there and I'm scrolling in and out. So I typically use that. I scroll out till I can see what I need to see, and then I put my mouse where I want to look at and I scroll in. So now you'll see that this is kind of like the on deck circle. This is our bench here. These are all the tools that they didn't have enough room to get on the toolbar without clogging it up. So they've got them here so that when you pull off the bench, automatically comes up here on this. So the last one I used on this one was actually text. But if I wanted to draw a circle, I would click that, and you can see now the circle tool is up on, that's like the on deck circle. That's the one that's, available to use. And you can see it gets highlighted if we wanted to use. Now I don't want to draw a circle here and I don't want to save this because this is something I'm going to give you for working on. So now those are the commands. Remember, there's all kinds of hidden tools here, and remember to use the search command. Now we're going to go over to look at the other side here. So let's go back into there. I'm going to turn this off for a little bit here. So if I want to turn this off, I just click on the little X there. So this is the entity information. So I've made this into a group. So I'm going to edit it just so I can click on things. So that surface is highlighted now. So you can see that's the material it is. Actually, I started out with this site on glass because I was tracing over a map that I had underneath here. And so the back of this, if I would go underground and look back up, it's translucent blue. And then the current tag, which is like a layer where I can turn things on and off, it's called site base map. Okay, so now let's close out of here. So this outliner, this requires an upgrade, so just ignore that. The instructor we talked about, keep an eye on that. The 3D warehouse is where you can go on Google's website and I'm sorry, the Trimble SketchUp 3D warehouse, and this is all kinds of 3D elements you can drop in and 2D elements you can drop in. Now, the problem is it's open source and there's like a billion things on here that are garbage. So watch my video on how to use this and not go bonkers sorting through 60,000 cars drawn by 8-year-olds. Um, so this is components. So I made this a group. Now I could also make it as a component. We'll talk about that later. A component's something that you want to use over and over again. Um, this is the materials. So this shows the materials that are in this model now, but I've got this whole range of other materials that I can go in and put in my model. So let's close that out. And that's put on by the paint bucket over there. Then there's styles. So right now I'm using a simple style, which has got the green kind of grass on the ground plane and the blue in the background. There's all kinds of other styles I could do. Um, there are sketchy styles. There are styles with different colors. There are styles with the lines that are darker. So you can kind of make this look whatever you want to. I tend to like the one that I'm using here, which is the simple style. Okay, let's close out of that. Tags are where we turn things on and off. So you can see I've got all this on a layer or a tag because you're going to be putting a building on here and I want you to be able to turn this off. So if I click on that and turn it off, I got to close this group here. Do I have this on the wrong tag? Let's look here. So this is on site base map. Okay. And why is it not turning off? Oh, I know why. There, I had to click it there. Okay, so tags are really useful to turn things off so you can just focus on certain parts of the model. So let's close off that and close off that. This is shadows. So we saw how we could get on them before. This shows how you can do the shadows, the time of day, whether it's the lightness and the darkness of the shadow, and we can actually physically locate this so we can see exactly what the shadows would be in our neighborhood. This is an important one. So when we start out, we're not going to view it in perspective. We're going to view it in parallel projection, which is we're looking at it without any perspective, so our parallel lines are staying parallel. So a lot of times we're going to be start drawing out in the plan view so we don't get confused by the third dimension. So this is looking at it flat on a table, straight up and down, no perspective distortion. So if you wanted to look at it from all the four sides, now this is obviously a very flat site, it's only 6 inches high, but this is showing it from all the various other views. And then this gets us back in. So this is parallel projection with no perspective distortion. And this is perspective, which is the way our eye actually sees it. We're going to talk about scenes later. Scenes are a way to save a view, and then actually you can stitch the views together to make an animation video. So this is an important one. And then this is if you're doing an animation, how much you're delaying between your scenes and the transitions are working. Okay, so now let's close that one out. And then this one is the display. So this turns things on and off. So if I wanted to get rid of those axes, it turns it off there. Um, when we edit a component, we can hide the rest of the model. That's where this shows up. We can even put fog in our drawings, believe it or not. So let's keep moving here. So this is just our model information, our format, our precision, the snap intervals. Typically, I just leave this at default. So let's close this and close this. And then this solid inspector is for 3D printing. So you don't need to do that because that's a add-on that costs more money. So like if I want to have these two up, you can see they're highlighted now. And then when I click them down, they stop being highlighted. Okay, I don't want this video to be too long. Yeah, obviously we don't have to know it all in 20 minutes, but this just kind of gives you an overview. Thank you.